morning, students. Now we are going to discuss about Grade 7 History, Chapter 7 Tribes, Nomads and Settled Communities. Students, at first we are going to discuss about tribes, nomads and settled communities. What do you mean by tribes? Yes, a tribe is a group of people or a community with similar values or interest. That means a group with a common ancestor or a common leader. Students, the tribal people lived in remote areas such as forests, hills, mountains, and deserts. Let us discuss about nomads. Students, nomads means people who keep on moving from one place to another. Nomads means people who keep on moving from one place to another. A nomad is a member of a community without fixed habitation which regularly moves to and from the same areas. Nomads means people who keep on moving from one place to another. For example, hunter-gatherers. Moving on to understand settled communities. Students, a settlement is a colony or any small community of people. See, if you have a settled way of life, you stay in one place or with one person rather than moving around or changing. Students, settlements are places where people build their homes to live in. See, early human beings did not need to develop settlements because they lived on trees and in caves. A settlement is a colony or any small community of people. Moving on to understand types of society. Students, in large part of the subcontinent, society was divided according to the rules of Varna. Students, there were two types of societies. They are caste-based society and tribal society. What are the two types of society? Yes, caste-based society and tribal society. At first, we are going to discuss about caste-based society. Students, the society underwent many changes during the medieval period. There were two types of societies. One was the caste-based society, in which people were divided into high or low caste according to their birth. There was a huge gap between the high and low caste groups. The other was the tribal society, which did not follow the caste rules laid down by the Brahmanas. Tribal societies did not follow the social rules and rituals prescribed by the Brahmanas because they divided societies into numerous unequal classes. See, these societies were known as tribes. What are the two types of societies? Yes, there were two types of societies. They are caste-based society and tribal society. Students, members of each tribe were united by kinship bonds. Kinship bond means relatedness or connection by blood or marriage or adoption. See, kin relationships are traditionally defined as ties based on blood or marriage. There was a unique bond of kinship among the members of each tribe. The main source of livelihood was agriculture. However, hunter-gatherers or herders were also there. Students, what do you mean by hunter-gatherer? Yes, a member of a group of people who subsist by hunting and gathering. Hunter-gatherer means a member of a group of people who subsist by hunting and gathering. What do you mean by herders? Yes, herder means a person in charge of a herd, especially of cattle, goat or sheep. Students, a tribal group controlled land and pasture jointly. What do you mean by pasture? Yes, land covered with grass and other low plants suitable for grazing animals, especially cattle or sheep. A tribal group controlled land and pasture jointly. See, the tribal people generally lived in remote areas such as dense forest, hills, mountains, and deserts. But caste based societies and tribal societies also dependent on each other. Students, can you mention some special features of tribal societies? Yes. See, they did not follow the social rules and rituals which the Brahmanas prescribed. Yes. They were not divided into many unequal classes. Members of the society were united by kinship bonds. Kinship bond means relatedness or connection by blood or marriage or adoption. Kin relationships are traditionally defined as ties based on blood or marriage. Members of the society were united by kinship bonds. Students, do you know who were tribal people? Yes. A tribe is a group of people or a community with similar values or interests. See, the tribal people lived in remote areas such as forest, hills, mountains, and deserts. The tribal people were engaged in agriculture, herding, hunting, and gathering. Moving on to understand tribal groups. Students, there were many tribal groups. Some groups were small, some groups were large and powerful. Some powerful tribes controlled large territories. Let us discuss about some tribal groups. Kokar, Gagas, Langas, Argans, Balochis, Nahas, Ahoms, Cheros, Mundas, Shantals, Kolits, Berats, and Bils are some tribal groups. Students, in 13th and 14th century, Gogars were very influential in Punjab region. Later, Gagas became more important. Kamal Khan was a leader of Gagas. Who was the leader of Gagas? Yes, Kamal Khan was a leader of Gagas. Students, Langas and Argans dominated Multan and Sindh. The Langas and Argans dominated Multan and Sindh. Let us discuss about Balochis. Students, the Balochis were found in the northwest. See, they were divided into many smaller clans under different chiefs. Chief means leader. Moving on to understand northeastern part of the subcontinent. Students, Nahas and Ahoms. The northeastern part of the subcontinent was dominated by the Nahas and Ahoms and many others. Northeastern part of the subcontinent was dominated by the Nahas and Ahoms and many others. Cheros chiefdom had emerged in Bihar and Jharkhand. On that time, Raja Mansingh attacked and defeated the Cheros. In 1591, Raja Mansingh attacked and defeated the Cheros. Who was Raja Mansingh? Yes, Raja Mansingh was Akbar's famous general. Students, on that time, a large amount of booty was taken from them. What do you mean by booty? Yes, booty means valuable stolen goods. Students, Mundas and Santals dominated Orissa and Bengal. Mundas and Santals dominated Orissa and Bengal. Mundas and Santals lived in Orissa and Bengal. Students, Maharashtra Highland and Karnataka was dominated by Kolis and Berats. See, Kolis also lived in many areas of Gujarat. Students, during the 16th century, Bhils dominated western and central India. Many of them became settled agriculturalists and some became jamindars. Students, the Cheros, Mundas, Santals, Ghasis, Nahas and Ahoms were the main tribes in the east. The Todas, Koragas, Maravas, Badagas and Vetus were the main tribes in the south. Let us discuss about Gadis. Students, the western Himalaya of the subcontinent was dominated by Gadis. In the western Himalayas, the Gadi shepherds lived. Students, name some tribal groups. Yes. Some tribal groups are Gokar, Gakas, Langas, Argans, Balochis, Nahas, Ahoms, Cheros, Mundas, Chantals, Kolis, Berets, Bills and Gadis. Moving on to understand how nomads and mobile people lived. Students, most of the tribal people were nomads. So they moved with their animals. When the supply of food for these animals got exhausted in an area, they moved to another area. What do you mean by exhausted? Yes, completely used up. Students, they exchange milk, honey, wool, ghee, etc. See, they exchange these goods with settled agriculturalists for grains, cloth, utensils, etc. They exchange these goods with settled agriculturalists for grain, cloth, utensils, etc. Students, they bought and sold these goods as they moved from one place to another place. Students, which tribe was very influential in Punjab during the 13th and 14th centuries? Yes, the Gokar tribe was very influential in Punjab during the 13th and 14th centuries. Students, now we are going to discuss about Banjaras. You have read about the Banjaras in the previous chapter. Now we are going to discuss about Banjaras. Students, the Banjaras were important trader nomads. The Banjaras were important trader nomads. Students, they usually moved in caravan. What do you mean by caravan? Yes, a caravan can be a large group of people traveling together in one long line. Caravan means a group of vehicles traveling together. They usually moved in caravan known as Tanda. Caravan was also known as Tanda. Students, a Tanda contained as many as 6 to 700 persons. A Tanda contained as many as 6 to 700 persons. Students, they carried their wives and children along with them. See, they owned their oxen. They bought grain where it was cheaply available and carried it to places where it was dearer. Students, do you know the Banjaras did not travel more than 6 to 7 miles a day. The Banjaras did not travel more than 6 to 7 miles a day. After unloading their oxen, they freed them to grass. Students, many tribes reared and sold animals. For example, cattle, horse, etc. See, they made and sold robes, straw matting, reeds, etc. Students, what do you know about Banjaras? Yes, the Banjaras were important trader nomads. They usually moved in caravan known as Tanda. Caravan was also known as Tanda. Students, a Tanda contained as many as 6 or 700 persons. They carried their wives and children along with them. They owned their oxen. They bought grains where it was cheaply available and carried it to places where it was dearer. The Banjaras did not travel more than 6 or 7 miles a day. After unloading their oxen, they freed them to grass. Students, do you know Sultan Alauddin Khalji used the Banjaras to transport grain to the city markets? Moving on to understand changing society. Students, in this topic we are going to discuss about new caste and hierarchies. With time, tribal groups were exposed to new cultures. As a result, they slowly began to change their isolated lifestyle. Students, many of them began to lead a settled life and adopted better methods of agriculture. On that time, smaller castes or jatis emerged with the growth of the society. Smiths, carpenters, and masons were recognized as separate jatis by the Brahmanas. Brahmanas recognize smiths, carpenters, and masons as separate jatis. Many of these clans came to be recognized as Rajputs. Students, during the medieval period, the rise of Rajput clans to the position of rulers set an example for the tribal people to follow. Gradually, with the support of the Brahmanas, many tribes became part of the caste system. Many tribes became part of the caste system, but only the leading tribal families could join the ruling class. Students, on that time, a large majority joined the lower jatis of caste society. On the other hand, many dominant tribes of Punjab, Sindh, and the northwest frontier had adopted Islam quite early. Students, during the medieval period, some tribes became dominant. Those that controlled the key trade routes and forest resources became very powerful. The Mughals tried to extract either taxes or services from these tribal people. The Gonds and the Agums were two tribal groups who established powerful independent kingdoms. Moving on to understand Gonds. Students, the Gonds are one of the most powerful tribal communities in central India. The Gonds dominated central India. Yes. The name Gond comes from the Telugu word Gonda, which means a hill. Students, the Gonds practiced shifting cultivation. What do you mean by shifting cultivation? Shifting cultivation means trees and bushes in a forest area are first cut and burnt. The crop is sown in the ashes. When this land loses its fertility, another plot of land is cleared and planted in the same way. This process is called shifting cultivation. The Gonds practiced shifting cultivation. Let us discuss about Gond society. Students, the large Gond tribe was divided into many smaller clans. See, each clan had its own Raja. Raja was also known as a Rai. After the decline of the Delhi Sultans, Gond's kingdoms were dominated by Gond chiefs. See, Amandas was the Gond Raja of Garha Kandaga. Who was the ruler of the Garha Kandaga? Yes, Amandas was the ruler of Garha Kandaga. Amandas was the Gond Raja of Garha Kandaga. He assumed the title of Shangram Shah. Students, the Gond chief now wished to be recognized as Rajputs. So, Amandas, the Gond Raja of Garha Kandaga, assumed the title of Shangram Shah. Students, who was Amandas? Yes, Amandas was the Gond Raja of Garha Kandaga. Students, now we are going to discuss about the administrative system of the Gond kingdom. Students, the Gond kingdom was divided into Gargs. Each Garg was controlled by a particular clan. Each Garg was controlled by a particular Gond clan. Students, this Garg was further divided into unit of 84 villages. These villages are called Chaurasi. Chaurasi consists of 84 villages. Students, the Chaurasi was subdivided into barhods. Students, the Chaurasi was subdivided into barhods which were made up of 12 villages each. That means each barhods consist of 12 villages. Students, do you know Akbarnama mentions Garha Kandaga had 70,000 villages. That means Garha Kandaga consists of 70,000 villages. Students, can you tell who controlled Garg? Yes, a Gond clan usually controlled the Gar. Who was Amandas? Yes, he was the Gond Raja of Garha Kandaha. Students, now we are going to discuss about Rani Durgavadi. Who was Rani Durgavadi? Yes, Rani Durgavadi was the daughter of Salbahan, the Chandal Rajput Raja of Mahoba. Students, she got married to Dalpat, the son of the Gond Raja Amandas. Dalpat was the son of the Gond Raja Amandas. She was married to Dalpat. Dalpat was son of Amandas. Students, after the death of her husband, she began to rule on behalf of her 5-year-old son Bir Narain. Students, she extended her kingdom very soon. In 1565, when the Mughal forces under Azaf Khan attacked Gargahandaga, she put up a strong resistance. Finally, she was defeated. But she did not surrender. Instead, she preferred to die. Students, who was Rani Durgavadi? Yes, she was the daughter of Shalbahan, the Chandal Rajput Raja of Mahoba. Students, who was Dalpat? Yes, Dalpat was the son of Amandas. Students, who was Bir Narain? Yes, Bir Narain was the son of Dalpat. Students, can you tell when did the Mughal forces attack Garha Yes, the Mughal forces attacked Garha in 1565. What do you know about the administrative system of the Gond kingdom? Yes, the Gond kingdom was divided into Gargs. Each Garg was controlled by a particular Gond clan. Yes, this was further divided into units of 84 villages called Chaurasi. The Chaurasi was subdivided into Barhods, which were made up of 12 villages each. Students, this is the administrative system of the Gond kingdom. Moving on to understand Garha Students, Garha was a rich state. See, it earned huge wealth by trapping and exporting wild elephants to other kingdoms. This made it a rich state. What made Garha a rich state? Yes, Garha earned huge wealth by trapping and exporting wild elephants to other kingdoms. This made it a rich state. Students, when the Mughals defeated the Gonds, they captured a huge booty of precious coins and elephants. What do you mean by booty? Yes, it is a collection of valuable things stolen from a place, especially by soldiers, after a battle. Battle means war. Booty means valuable things that are stolen, especially by soldiers in a time of war. When the Mughals defeated the Gonds, they captured a huge booty of precious coins and elephants. Students, name the items which the Mughal captured by defeating the Gonds. Yes, precious coins and elephants. Students, the Gond kingdom survived for a long time, but gradually they lost their power. The Marathas defeated them and took over some of their territories. The English finally took over Gondwana in the 19th century. Students, what do you know about Gonds? Yes, the Gonds are one of the most powerful tribal communities in central India. The Gonds established a powerful kingdom in central India. Rani Durgavadi was a famous queen. The Gond kingdom were very rich. They exported elephants to other kingdoms, including the Mughals. One of the reasons why Akbar decided to invade Garha was his desire to capture this resource. Students, the Gonds practiced agriculture, but it was largely zoom cultivation. that means shifting cultivation. Most Gons led a nomadic lifestyle. According to the Akbarnama, Gar Kandahar was one of the most powerful kingdoms of its times. Kingdoms were divided into Gargs. Each Garg was divided into numerous Chaurasis, which were made up of 84 villages each. Students, the Chaurasi was further subdivided into Barhods. Each Barhod consisted of 12 villages. Moving on to understand Ahoms. Students, the Ahoms were a tribal community who established a kingdom in the region of present-day Assam. The name Assam is probably derived from the word Ahom. The original homeland of the Ahoms may have been China. Students, the Ahoms migrated to the Brahmaputra Valley from present-day Myanmar in the 13th century. They finally settled in northeastern Assam and set up a stable government. Students, the first Ahom king was Sukfa. He ruled for 40 years. Students, they created a new state by suppressing the old political system of the Buyans. What do you mean by Buyans? Yes, Buyans means landlords. The Ahoms expanded their territories by defeating the local rulers. They also fought against the Mughals. Students, in 1523, they annexed Kingdom of Shutias. In 1581, they annexed Kingdom of Kachhajo. In 1523, they annexed Kingdom of the Chutias. In 1581, they annexed Kingdom of Kachhajo. Students, on that time, in 16th century, the Ahoms built a large state, and for this they used firearms. Firearms means gun or a small arm weapon as a rifle or pistol. Firearms means gun. The Ahoms built a large state, and for this they use firearms. Students, who was Sukfa? Yes, Sukfa was the first Ahom king. Students, in 1662, the Mughals under Mir Jumla attacked the Ahom kingdom. Finally, the Ahoms were defeated by the Mughals. Rudra Singh was the most powerful Ahom ruler. Students, he ruled from 1696 to 1714. Who was Rudra Singh? Yes, Rudra Singh was the most powerful Ahom ruler. Students, do you know the Ahoms still live as a small tribal group in Assam? Let us discuss about the administration of the Ahom state. Students, in this topic we are going to discuss about how was the administration of the Ahom state organized. The Ahom state depended upon forced labor. Those forced to work for the state were called packs. Packs means laborers. Students, on that time a census of the population was taken. Each village had to send a number of packs by rotation. People of densely populated areas were shifted to less populated areas. Ahom clans were thus broken up. By the first half of the 17th century, the administration became quite centralized. Students, almost all adult males served in the army during war. At other times, they were engaged in building dams, irrigation systems, and other public works. Students, do you know the Ahoms introduced new methods of rice cultivation? The Ahoms had a tribal setup. The village community was very powerful. It allotted land to peasants based on their needs. The peasants cultivated food crops, particularly rice, on their land. Peasants and others also had to serve in the army during war. Students, can you tell who introduced new methods of rice cultivation? Yes, The Ahoms introduced new methods of rice cultivation. Students, do you know when did the Mughals attack the Ahom kingdom? Yes, the Mughals attacked the Ahom kingdom in 1662. Moving on to understand Ahom society. Students, Ahom society was divided into clans or khels. Ahom society was divided into clans or khels. There were very few castes of artisans. So, artisans in the Ahom areas came from the nearby kingdoms. The artisans in the Ahom areas came from the adjoining kingdoms. Students, Khel often controlled several villages. A Khel often controlled several villages. The peasant was given land by his village community. It allotted land to peasants based on their needs. The peasants cultivated food crops, particularly rice, on their land. Students, during the half of the 17th century, the influence of Brahmanas increased. Temples and Brahmanas were granted land by the king. Students, in the reign of Sip Singh, Hinduism became the predominant religion. But the Ahom kings did not completely give up their traditional beliefs after adopting Hinduism. Students, do you know Ahom society was very sophisticated? What do you mean by sophisticated? Yes, involving a great deal of worldly experience and knowledge of fashion and culture. Ahom society was very sophisticated. Poets and scholars were given land grants. Theatre was encouraged. We do not find these things in the Gond society. Students, what do you know about Ahom society? Yes, Ahom society was divided into clans or khels. The society was very sophisticated. Students, on that time, important works of Sanskrit were translated into local language. Historical works known as Baranjis were also written first in the Ahom language and then in Assamese. Students, do you know the Ahoms worship their own tribal gods? Tribal gods were worshipped. In the 18th century, some Ahoms adopted Hinduism as their religion. However, worship of tribal gods continued. Students, can you tell who was Rudra Singh? Yes, Rudra Singh was the most powerful Ahom ruler. He ruled from 1696 to 1714. Students, he and the later rulers compiled the Baranjis or Ahom historical works. In the 19th century, Assam became a part of British India. The Ahom still live as a small tribal group in Assam. The Ahoms were settled in Assam. Rudra Singh was a powerful Ahom king. Students, who introduced new methods of rice cultivation? Yes, the Ahoms introduced new methods of rice cultivation. When did the Mughals attack the Ahom kingdom? Yes, the Mughals attacked the Ahom kingdom in 1662. Students, can you tell who were the Ahoms? Yes, the Ahoms were the tribal people who migrated to the Brahmaputra valley from present-day Myanmar in the 13th century. Students, now I am going to revise important terms. At first, clan. What do you mean by clan? Yes, a clan is a group of families or households claiming descent from a common ancestor. Tribal organization is often based on kinship or clan loyalties. Let us discuss about nomads. Students, nomads means people who keep on moving from one place to another. Nomads means people who keep on moving from one place to another. Let us discuss about nomadic pastoralist. Students, nomadic pastoralist means People who move over long distances with their animals. People who move over long distances with their animals. Next, Tanda. Students, what do you mean by Tanda? Yes, the caravan of the Banjaras was called Tanda. The caravan of the Banjaras was called Tanda. Students, the Banjaras were important trader nomads. They usually moved in caravan known as Tanda. See, a Tanda contained as many as 6 or 700 persons. Moving on to understand shifting cultivation. Students, what do you mean by shifting cultivation? Yes, trees and bushes in a forest area are first cut and burnt. Then the crop is shown in the ashes. When this land loses its fertility, another plot of land is cleared and planted in the same way. Students, this process is called shifting cultivation. Shifting cultivation means at first trees and bushes in a forest area are first cut and burnt. Then the crop is shown in the ashes. After some time, when this land loses its fertility, another plot of land is cleared and planted in the same manner. This process is called shifting cultivation. Students, the Gonds practiced shifting cultivation. Students, now I am going to revise very short answer type questions. At first, who controlled Garg? Yes, a Gond clan usually controlled the Garg. Okay, students, what do you mean by Garg? Yes, the kingdom Garhakandaga was divided into Gargs. Students, this Garg was further divided into units of 84 villages. See, these villages are called Chaurasi. Now, question number 2. Who was Amandas? Yes, Amandas was the Gandraja of Garhakandaha. He was the Gandraja of Garhakandaha. Question number 3. Name the items which the Mughals captured by defeating the Gonds. Yes, precious coins and elephants. Precious means valuable. Students, when the Mughals defeated the Gonds, they captured a huge booty of precious coins and elephants. Students, what do you mean by booty? Yes, booty means it is collection of valuable things stolen from a place, especially by soldiers after a battle. Battle means war. Booty means valuable things that are stolen especially by soldiers in a time of war. Next, question number 4. Who was Durgavadi? Yes, Durgavadi was the daughter of Salbahan, the Chandal Rajput Raja of Mahoba. She was the daughter of Shalbahan. Students, Rani Durgavadi was married to Dalpat, the son of the Gandraja of Garhakandaga, Amandas. Dalpat, however, died early. After his death, Rani Durgavadi, being very capable, began to rule on behalf of her 5-year-old son, Bir Narain. Next, question number 5. Who introduced new methods of rice cultivation? Yes, the Ahoms introduced new methods of rice cultivation. Students, the Ahoms were the tribal people. In the 13th century, they migrated from Myanmar to the Brahmaputra Valley. Mughals under Mir Jumla attacked Ahom kingdom. Finally, Ahoms were defeated by the Mughals. The Ahoms introduced new methods of rice cultivation. Moving on to understand how was the administration of the Ahom state organized. Students, the Ahom state depended upon forced labor. Those forced to work for the state were known as Paiks. A census of the population was taken. Each village had to send a number of Paiks by rotation. Students, on that time, people of densely populated areas were shifted to less populated areas. Ahom society was divided into clans or kales. Students, do you know a kale controlled several villages? The village community allotted land to peasants based on their needs. Thank you.